That's brilliant. Wonderful. So we are recording. Well, thank you, everyone. Welcome to our inaugural channel partner, Legally Yours channel partner call. So I'm really excited to have all of your faces up there. And this has really started because I was up in Brisbane with James Banks in his little red pot over there, or wherever you are on the screen that you're at. And James and I were talking and thinking this would be a great opportunity for you all to get to know each other, understand what each other's services are. Hi, Sam. How are you?
Hey, Karen. How you going?
Good. We've only just started, so thank you
Good.
for
Sorry I'm
joining.
late.
No, all good, all good. So I was just explaining that the premise behind this is really for all of us to sort of get to know each other. So that's why we've sort of said a 2-minute sort of little introduction where you can kind of state who you are, what your business is, and what you're doing for the legal community. Talk a little bit around expectations about what we want to do with the community, and then I've got a sort of an announcement at the end. So we're all okay with running to that agenda?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. All
For
right.
me, Karen, I've just got one thing. I'm going to have to duck out, unfortunately, at about around 1:10. I've got another meeting I've got to duck out.
No, that's okay. Well, how about we start with you, Ben, then? Do you want to start us and kick us off with your elevator pitch? Give us a quick little 2-minute introduction on what you do and why you're involved in this community.
Sure, sounds good. I run Firm Checker. It's a ratings and reviews platform for lawyers and also accountants. Think TripAdvisor, but in the legal space. And what we do is we obviously bring information that makes qualitative aspects of client service more transparent for the end client. But we also help firms collect feedback and manage their client relationships sort of from the point of, I guess, people becoming aware of them if they come to them through our platform, people considering them, all the way through to people sort of rating, reviewing them, and then they can use that to make more intelligent decisions about, I guess, their client service at a high level, but also managing individual client relationships because they can pick up on clients who are happy, unhappy, opportunities for referrals, things like that. And that is, in a nutshell, what we do.
Fantastic. And Ben, can you just give a little, because you've obviously got a connection to the Client Choice Awards too,
Mm-hmm.
which is, I think, super interesting for us to all hear about as well, in case we've got clients or...
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Well, it wraps in with the Client Choice Awards. You may be aware of them. They've been run by Beaton Research and Consulting for 15 years, typically for the bigger firms, think sort of Mallisons and Freehills, etc. But what we've partnered with them to make it so that small boutique firms can actually participate, and that's sort of judged off the feedback that they get through the Firm Checker platform. So without having to do anything else, they obviously get an additional marketing benefit as a result of having joined up.
Fantastic. So does anyone have any quick questions for Ben? Hi, Anne-Marie. Thank you for joining us. We've just gotten started, so Ben's just been the first one out.
Karen, I have a question for Ben.
Yeah, go ahead.
When's the deadline for applications for that boutique firm award?
It's 4th November, and in terms, that's just for signing up to the platform. In terms of the survey deadline, that's 4th of February. And sort of once you've signed up, it just becomes a year-on-year thing. And any data collected within 1 year gets considered for the next year's awards.
I had mentioned to Karen, just in my capacity as a lawyer, could you email me the details of that?
Sure, happy to.
Thanks, Ben.
Wonderful. And to let you know, sort of the connection with Legally Yours is that we are, what are our 2 categories that we're supporting? It's boutique firm and there's another one, isn't there?
Yeah, that's right. It was the small to medium law firm category. Yeah.
So we're sort of very supportive of that. Obviously, it's our target market, so we're really excited. So Ben and I are actually filming some videos very shortly about it. So I think what would be great is if when we start promoting those, if you wanted to obviously share in everyone else's kind of circles. Rakesh, I know you'll have clients that'll be interested in the Client Choice Awards, and if you've got nominations and those sorts of things, let's get on it. So that's awesome. Well, thank you, Ben. Any other questions for Ben?
Yeah, I have a quick question. Ben, how do you feed out or weed out people that might be just posting negative feedback just because they're disgruntled or they have a beef?
Sure. Well, we wouldn't take down a review just because it's negative. That would obviously undermine the integrity of the platform. But we do have both sort of technological and human measures for ensuring that, say, it's not a competitor that's just leaving a bogus review. And in addition to that, we do give the opportunity for the end client to leave either private feedback or a public review. And then that way, not only can you get sort of a broader data capture, it can divert off people who might have a beef who go, actually, I don't want to leave this publicly. I just want to get in touch with the firm and let them know that I have some sort of grievance. So that's the avenue we provide.
And I think the fantastic thing about Firm Checker is that Firm Checker can feed into a lot of the other businesses that I see on the screen, because depending on what reviews are, those law firms and lawyers might then seek additional resources. Say they might want to have videos where they actually explain their services better from James from Video Y, or with the guys at Beyond Billables, they might need some help with assisting how they're communicating their messaging and different things. So I think there's lots of kind of segue into that. Rakesh, I've got you down next. Would you like to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Rakesh. I started an accounting firm geared toward smaller to medium-sized legal firms. The service offering is your traditional accounting, tax, and business planning services, but it's geared more toward the end goals of the client. So rather than saying, this is what we do, here's a price list, choose whatever services you need, we'll have an initial chat with the client to understand exactly where they are now, where they'd like to be in the future, and then we'll map out a roadmap, I guess, of services that would help them to get there. That includes bookkeeping. I'm trying to roll out a cash flow coaching service as well, whereby I'll get the client to let me know what they think, where they're sitting from a profitability, managing financial obligations and that sort of thing position, and then I'll let them know where they should be, and we'll basically work on putting together a service which is fixed fee, obviously. So on the outset, they know exactly what they'll be looking at from a cost point of view. The idea is to educate the client so that they're able to make better decisions moving into the future. So on my business roadmap, I've got data analysis as a future offering. That's more aligned with obtaining information from different sources, so practice management software, and even your banks and maybe even industry trends that will allow the smaller firms to access resources which larger firms currently have, and offer it at a more affordable rate.
Fantastic. And Rakesh is actually virtual and online too. So it's not just for law firms or businesses based in Brisbane. It's national. So
that's right. Yeah.
So he'll deliver that online. Does anyone have any questions for Rakesh? No, all good. Well done. You must have nailed it there, Rakesh. Well done, you. Rugari, over to you.
Great. Hello, everybody. My name is Rugare. I'm from Zimbabwe originally, and it's a pleasure to be with you all. So how I'm related to is I'm a high-performance business coach and also a philanthropist, but if with Legally Yours, I'm here as a high-performance business coach. And how I help people live a wondrous life and create extraordinary businesses. That's what my job is. And I work with law firms, accounting firms, software companies, all sorts of industries. What I find a lot in the legal industry is many of them may be coming out of big firms, medium firms, and still having the same mindset that they've come away from trying to build their businesses. So my job is to help create their business to be inside of their vision and their values, and really articulate their vision and values so that they can start living, like fulfilling their purpose in life. I help our company, our clients grow. So similar to what Rakesh does. So I don't help with the accounting side of things, but I'll help inside of creating the mindset of abundance. So my coaching is more in the domain of mindset. What are the limiting beliefs to have you get to where you are at, and then inventing a new possibility and taking the actions that are consistent with that. And what people will be dealing with is typically the fear. Because when you're doing something new outside how you've already always done things, what will be there will be, I don't have the confidence to do it. I'm not good enough to do it. So all those limiting beliefs can be in the way of creating a really highly successful law firm. So that's my job.
And Regare, a side note for Regare is that he had his own very successful firm as well. So he understands how to set one up. So that's one thing that I think makes you completely unique in that sort of area, which is brilliant. And also when he referred to his philanthropy, the GOMO Foundation. So I know a few of you on this call have received the wonderful GOMO certificates when you've done an event with Legally Yours. So we are so excited to actually, make donations every time we do an event to the GOMO Foundation. And tell us, Regare, you can do the honours. What's the GOMO Foundation?
GOMO, giving others more opportunities. So we are creating extraordinary communities in Zimbabwe. We're starting in Zimbabwe, and we provide scholarships for girls to go to school. So as you can imagine, Zimbabwe right now is, with my fellow Rakesh, we're both from Zimbabwe. There is barely any food. It's hard to get an education, which is then limiting people, and particularly girls, having an opportunity. So my grandmother was denied an opportunity to go to school. My mom was the first female to go to high school, and my sister's the first female in our entire family to go to university, which is really such a huge achievement, because then it's interrupting the legacy of what it means to be a woman and bringing equality of men and women in society.
I don't know if you want to hear more, but
yeah, amazing. Well, Kathy, you're not on mute. Any questions for Regare? There you go, you nailed it, Regare. Well done. You. That's not to say if you do get asked a question, you didn't nail it, just to put it there. James Banks, let's go over to you, James.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks, Karen. Hey, everyone. My name's James, and I'm CEO and co-founder of a business called Web3. And long and short of it is we work with firms very closely to help them achieve profitable and consistent growth. We work really closely with the Beyond Billables team, Mike's team. And how we do that is essentially we assist and understand where the firm wants to go from a key brand and messaging point of view. This is very much what Mike does extremely well. Really to get an understanding of direction and where they want to take the business, ensure that their brand, their key messaging, and their audience that they're going after meets their life and business goals and objectives. From that, we typically will then move through and design the online point of conversion, whether that be as simple as a landing page all the way up to a full bespoke web platform. Good example of our work is the Legally Yours website. We built and designed that, leveraging the great brand asset work that Mike's team created to do that. From that, once we then achieve the point of conversion, we then look at various forms of controllable and scalable traffic, particularly in the legal industry. Our speciality is lead acquisition through Google search advertising. We typically bundle that strategy together with a combined inbound marketing and social media marketing strategy that the Beyond Billables teams deliver to essentially drive consistent new clients to the firm that results in profitable conversions. It's about the start of the month. Right now, we're operating quite heavily in the criminal law and family law space. We're averaging, it's just quite early days for the campaigns we've reported so far, but they're between $50 to $150 cost per lead at a 50 to 80% closure rate for a minimum case value of around about $5,000. So very good ROI, and it's really a combination of all of those parts that I said, and then some to deliver those results. We even go as far, I've worked with Sam and the Joseph team in helping to use the Joseph platform to create, such as a Legally Yours legal matching chatbot you see on the site. And we're also looking at deploying that great tool on some of our clients to assist the lead acquisition systems that we deploy. So yeah, that's essentially what we do in a nutshell.
Fabulous. And I can obviously speak to personal experience working with James and his team. They're not just, a sort of a one transactional kind of off. I mean, it's the full gamut. It's the support. It's the understanding. It's the creativity of thinking about how you can scale. So it's a really full service, and they really do partner with you. So, they are the creators behind our platform, along with Beyond Billables, which we'll get to. Brilliant stuff. Any questions for James? Anyone got any questions for James?
James, how big's your team?
We've got a team of 10 people.
Okay. And what do you sort of operate typically on, like a monthly retainer type business? I'm just thinking because obviously I'm sure your service would be of interest to a lot of our users down the track. So
Yeah, for sure, mate. It's typically a two-phased approach. So in the instance, I'll give you the example of what we did with Legally Yours, where we approached the biggest thing that we needed to solve the business was to get the actual Legally Yours site, the platform built. And we approached that in a project fee on completion style approach to do that. Once we had then done that, we moved into what can we do to support and maintain and grow the platform, which then falls under more of a traditional retainer style month-to-month option. But we're flexible and open to matching the needs and wants of the business, and also what fits in terms of their budgeting and billing cycle to come up with the best solution.
sure.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you, James. Rose, we might go over to you. Rose Javitsky from Clarence. Or maybe not. Rose?
Hello, how's it going?
I'm good.
My mouse was on the other screen. That's the issue with having multiple screens.
Absolutely. Introduce yourself, Rose.
Yeah. So I'm Rose Javitsky. I'm the head of chambers at Clarence. Clarence provides workspaces for professionals, but we really focus on lawyers, and they're about 70 to 75% of our client base. We have about 600 lawyers in our network now and over 400 firms. So we've had a really strong growth in the last year and a half or so. So some of the things we provide to the lawyers is not just the workspaces, but also resources and a really active community to really reduce that feeling of isolation that a lot of lawyers can feel. I had my own firm at home while I was raising a couple of little kiddies, so I can definitely speak to the feeling of isolation. I didn't really know anything like Clarence existed. I wish I had. But some of the things we provide in terms of resources is we have some really good relationships with all the legal publishers. We partner with lots of vendors that really help our members practice and do it in a cost-effective way as well. I think Rugari was saying that some people leave big firms and they're used to receiving the big firm resources, but when they go out on their own, they don't really know what to do. So we try and guide them. We have in-house paralegals and all that sort of thing as well. So it's great to meet others. I've heard about quite a few of your businesses. Faces to the names, and I know my camera's broken. I'm getting it fixed. Sorry about that.
Oh no, all good. Well, thank you,
Rest
Rose.
assured, I'm very good looking.
Oh, you are.
Wait for it.
You are, Rose.
I was just eating. I'm so glad you couldn't see that.
Does anyone have any question of Rose? I'm sure everyone's I was actually looking at all of you thinking you're all pretty familiar with Clarence. I'm sure you've been to either an event there or a vendor there. Brilliant stuff. Well, thank you. And we obviously do a lot of events with Clarence. Absolutely brilliant event coordinators and always so generous with their space. So thank you so much, Rose.
Our pleasure.
Emma Houston, over to you. Thank you for joining us, Emma. Oh, sorry, I've ruffled your feathers. Can you get off mute?
Yes, I'm off
Yeah.
mute. I just wrote down a few notes and I'm like, where did I put them?
Everyone, this is the gorgeous Emma Houston, the remote expert. Over to you, Emma.
So I set up my own firm this year. I'm a virtual law firm from Ballina in New South Wales. And what I do is focus on remote work. So it would be people who are self-employed, work from home or co-working spaces, or people who hire remote teams, freelancers or contractors. So I'm actually about to launch a VA service agreement for virtual assistants and people who hire them. So where I come into the law in a box thing is preparing all the documents. So if someone wants to go out on their own, I offer to prepare, I've got documents, so website terms and conditions, privacy policy, costs agreement, remote employee agreements or virtual assistant agreements, contractor agreements. So particularly when they're starting out, they might want someone on a casual basis or a VA. I've got a VA a few hours a week, which is all I need now as I scale up. So yeah, that's certainly what I do. and looking forward to working with all of you.
And a side note on that, so Emma's actually an accomplished author. She wrote The Tracksuit Economy, so I don't know if anyone's read that book. I'm always curious when I see Emma on Zoom if she's wearing tracksuit pants. I don't know.
I know, shorts today. It's really hot.
Oh, okay.
Sorry to people in Melbourne.
Oh, good. So does anyone have any questions of Emma?
Emma.
Yes.
Yep. Oh,
Go ahead, Mike.
Dude. Okay.
I was just curious. Your VAs, are they based locally or overseas?
No, my VA is actually based in Ballina. But yeah, I do. Sort of my agreement is sort of we're modified to that. And yeah, there's a whole question about VA offshore or onshore. If they're offshore and they're actually probably classed as an employee rather than a contractor, you've got to look at that. And there's some records of employer kind of people around like GeoShield that will look after that. So I know a few legal firms that have VAs in the Philippines and they use an agent or a record of employment there because of all the tax issues with offshore. So I'm sort of focusing on Australian VAs that I prepare agreements for. That's certainly who I'm launching to. And there's actually so many around. And, I like the idea of sort of supporting another mum in business, which is there. But, yeah, I can certainly give advice on that thing. And that's probably where you would come in with tax issues and that kind of thing.
Just that I suppose this is something for offline, but a client asked me about the ethics behind hiring someone locally and offshore, and kind of I was stumped with the appropriate.
There's actually two schools of thought. There's ethics locally, but bless you. Then, but then there's also the argument that you're actually supporting someone in another nation that helping them support their family. So I think it's whichever way. I don't.
We've actually got Jessica, who couldn't make the call today. She's the founder of BPO Heroes, and BPO Heroes is a VA company with all of their VAs based in the Philippines.
Yeah.
And so that's a really lovely compliment, I think, because it just gives lots of people choices. So I know Jessica would be interested in that conversation too. She can certainly join it as well. So she's got, which is really good. And Mike, did you have a question for Emma?
No, Emma, are you bundling up the documents as a hospital?
Yeah, I'm going to bundle them up. The VA is actually a bit of a test run. I've got a VA which I'm pre-launching the service agreement, but then I'm going to bundle it up with contractor agreement, website terms and conditions, that kind of thing, which then will be rated, but for lawyers and their specific documents with law in a box. So, yeah, the VA service agreement's sort of the start and a bit of a test run before we hit law in a box to work out the best type of documents to bundle up.
Yeah, cool.
Awesome. All right, so we'll head over to Linda Widdop in Perth.
Oh, hi everyone. My name is Linda Widdop. I'm a sole practitioner in the commercial law area, but I'm also a consultant, so that's where I'm sort of fitting in here because most of my clients are actually other lawyers. I work primarily in the commercial law area, but primarily banking and finance and secured lending, sort of debtor-creditor stuff. But I have a particular niche in the Personal Property Securities Act, which in my experience, many lawyers want to avoid who work in the commercial space because it's actually a very complicated piece of legislation. And so I found that they ask for my help in trying to sort through their client issues with respect to that piece of legislation. So I gained my expertise in that in the PPSA in New Zealand and in Canada, where I practiced for many years under that legislation. And I've been in Australia since it's actually come into force about 8 years ago now, I guess, or 7 years ago, something like that. So as a result of that niche, my clients are mostly lawyers, so I consult. I provide advice on how the PPSA applies in the commercial law areas. I get involved in transactional work, so I will help as sort of, I come in as a member of their team and do sort of their banking and finance secured transactions piece in their commercial transactions. I'll do registrations on the personal property security register for them and negotiate priority disputes, that kind of thing. Yeah, so that's essentially what I do for lawyers, a service I offer, but generally I'm a sort of a broad commercial lawyer as well.
And Linda forgot the most important point, is that she's actually known as the PPSA princess. So if you, which I just love saying. So, you know, it is, for those, you know, that aren't familiar with that legislation, it's a very complex piece of legislation, as Linda's articulated. You know, it's very, a lot of lawyers don't, you know a lot about it or tend to avoid it. So what Linda actually does is almost similar, I guess, to a barrister's kind of service. Rather than them going to a barrister, they can actually engage Linda to consult in, and then it's sort of like an expert advice that they deliver off to their clients, which is there. So if you ever hear sort of the PPSA come up, you can sort of very quickly say, you know, the PPSA princess. Do we have any questions for Linda? Oh, good. Thank you, Linda. James from Video Y, over to you.
Okay, thanks. Hey, everybody. I'm James from Video Y. I think there are a fair few friendly faces here because I create the video content for Legally Yours. So there are some of you that I've filmed with and created content for. So Video Y is the small business I run, and Video Y really exists to help purpose-driven people create incredible content. And all the video content that we create starts with this idea of why you do what you do, or your purpose. There are lots of videographers out there, lots of people who create content, and how we do it differently is with an intense focus on why you do what you do, which is really why we have partnered with Legally Yours to create their content, because we really believe in the cause of what they're doing. And what that really looks like in reality is that we really have two core offerings. One would be if you have a new business, a new product, or a new service, you need a video to explain what it is so people can watch it, get a feel for you, what you're all about, and what you stand for, and what you actually do. And we'll create the content for that. The second would be if you're wanting to produce a lot of content, grow a following, become a key person of influence within your area of expertise, and you need constant content pumping out, similar to what we're doing with Legally Yours at the moment. And we'll provide and create all the content for you to do that. And one extra one would be is if you have an event, you just need some content created to promote your event or do a recap. We also do that as well. And every client that we work with, we take them through what we call a why workshop, where we really talk about the purpose behind the business, your cause and what you stand for, and how to best explain that and put that forward in the video. So we've been in business for just over a year now. And we're working with the team from Legally Yours. We work with a lot of people in professional services, and we've recently started doing some stuff with Austrade and the government as well. But we really are creatives at heart, but we try to bridge that gap of creative people helping professional people get their message out there. That's Video Y in a nutshell.
And it's just beautiful. I mean, obviously, I'm a huge fan. James makes everyone I film with feel so comfortable, including myself. And I think you kind of get my wrinkles out too. So you always, you know, I actually can look at myself and I'm not cringing. So, I mean, that's really important.
That's great. That's a win.
A winner. But what you do, because it's full service. So obviously we shoot and then they go away. They put the beautiful music, they brand it. They do the wonderful sort of, you know, shots in and out. So we can't recommend them highly enough. And on the events thing, we've also had James obviously come along and shoot some of our events, and it's magical. It's almost like a mini film what you produce. So yourself, and I must give your brother Jai a credit too, because he is an absolute gun at editing. So yes. Any questions for James? No? Someone's phone's ringing? All right, good stuff. All right, Kathy, I was going to go to you. Do you want to chat now?
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's great. Yeah. Hi. I'm Kathy Constant, and I'm the CEO of Logix, and Logix is the first electronic settlement company that was established in November of 2017. So what we identified was that with the moving to mandating for all electronic settlements to be done via PEXA, a lot of solicitors, conveyancers were reticent to embrace the platform or learn the platform, or they didn't run a business that was geared for doing high volume transactions, and you know, the uptake and the learning was lagging. So we created an electronic settlement agency, and it's headed up by myself. I'm a solicitor with a practicing certificate. Joelle, my business partner, she's a licensed conveyancer. So what we do is for those solicitors or conveyancers that don't want to learn PEXA or are busy doing the things that they do, they can just refer their PEXA settlement to ourselves or their lodgements. And we help a lot of people with high volume transactions. So if you're actually happy running your platform and have, you know, you're okay with PEXA, and then suddenly a subdivision of 100 lots lands on your desk and you're wondering how you're going to monitor all of those workspaces, we can take over and manage that for you. We established, we built our own software platform called LAP, which allows us to onboard and move to scale for multiple matters as well. We've got a highly experienced team, and they're all conveyancing experts, and basically we take all the headache out of PEXA for those solicitors or practitioners that just don't want to learn it. You know, I mean, family lawyers who have finished the settlement and then have to do the transfer, and really they're busy being family lawyers. So we can look after that for them. Estate lawyers who need to do the transfers, we can do all of that for them as well.
And the brilliant thing that with Logix, I mean, they were the first to market on this. They are setting the gold standard. So obviously there are some bigger companies that do this as well, but it's Logix, and that's why we're really proud to be partnered with Logix, because they are the ones setting the standard. So yeah, big kudos to you, Kathy and Joelle, which has just been brilliant. Have we got any questions for Kathy at all? Yes, Peter.
Kathy, I've got lots of questions, but I'll leave them maybe for another discussion with my solicitor's hat on. But perhaps the main question is just around sort of the regulation of what you do. So do you have a trust account?
Yes, we do.
Sort of underpins it. In what state is that trust account?
The trust account is in Victoria, and so we're a licensed conveyancing company.
Yeah.
So we've got a trust account established in Victoria. Yeah.
And how have you? And we've got a member of the Legal Services Board on this call, so we might ask her to block her ears momentarily.
It's all fine. Yeah.
How have you dealt with the issue of sort of effectively sharing a trust account between practitioners?
Well,
From a regulatory perspective?
No, it's not, because see, what we do is the end transacting party is our client, because the client authorisation requires that they give us authorisation. So basically they are our client, so we're not actually sharing it with a practitioner. The funds, we only ever receive trust funds that are in relation to a settlement that is about to happen. We don't ever take surplus funds unless it's a linked settlement. So for example, if you're a vendor selling and then have some surplus to complete a purchase, you know, the same day or the subsequent day. So really we're not sitting there dispersing funds back to clients or practitioners.
Yeah. We should have a separate discussion, and I joke about Liz, but the Victorian Legal Services Board is really supportive of stuff like this, and they're actually working on trying to develop some policy to provide guidance, which is great for Victoria. What I will say is I know Queensland has a very different approach, and you might need to be mindful about dealing into Queensland. But yeah, so that's
in Queensland. Look, what we've done is we've incorporated a legal practice for Queensland, but at the moment we haven't rolled out, because as you say, there are regulatory issues there, and that's still exploring that. But I'd love to have a discussion with you. We've made submissions to ARNEC, to IPART in New South Wales. I talk quite extensively with Jenny Pakula as well, and with everybody, because we're embracing the regulation. I think when the electronic conveyancing national law was first rolled out, they never envisage that a business like us would exist, and now they've recognised that there's a need. So there's a lot of unrepresented parties that have no access to PEXA or even any other ELNO, even if simply got up.
Yeah.
There are other people out there who, you know, they're busy being a solicitor and they might do the one-off conveyance and they're closing their practices. So we're providing that niche, or as I said, the practice that suddenly gets a 200 lot subdivision and doesn't know how to deal with it, we can help them in that instance.
Kathy, can I ask Karen to connect you and I, because I'd also be interested just from a potential client perspective as well. So, but I can see everyone else's eyes glazing over as we talk regulations.
So sorry, yeah, I don't mean to. Yeah, it's a minefield, but thank you. Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks from video while I was digging that, weren't you, James?
Yeah.
You was on video. Now we best go to Liz, since you've been talked about, Liz. So, hello, Liz. Welcome. Oh no, we can't hear you. No. Oh, hold on. You're mute.
Can you hear me now?
You certainly can. Hey, Liz.
Sorry, are we better now?
We are. Can you hear us? Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. Sorry, having problems with my microphone today. So yes, I am the person who is the member of the Legal Services Board. Karen, it all sounds okay, so that's fine. I'm here not in that capacity. I am one of the 3 directors of Innovum, and we're a consultancy who helps law firms transform to a value pricing environment. So we help lawyers move away from this idea that value is the number of hours that you actually spend on a matter, which really does require quite a different mindset. As lawyers, as professionals, and I suspect for even some of the consultants who are on the line, pricing is somewhat problematic. We're not taught how to do it, yet it's fundamental to your business. It's fundamental to profitability. So we help you understand and articulate the value that you're delivering, help you understand how you can actually have that conversation with your client, how to price. We have various ways in which we do that. For some firms, we actually, it's a one-on-one consultancy. We, on a fairly regular basis, run a program. It's a 4-month program. Peter was part of our first program, which was a 6-month program. It's a 4-month program where we have a group of professionals come together once a month and work on one aspect of the value pricing transformation journey. And when we say journey, it's not just a matter of actually learning how you define the value and how you discuss value, but if you are abandoning recording time, which we say is really the foundation of a pretty healthy firm, then you've got to understand how to performance manage people, how to measure your WIP when you're not tracking time, how to project manage well. So we cover off on all of those aspects. We've got other offerings in that we will coach people about pricing conversations. We're about to launch an offering where we play what we call a value council. So if you have a matter that you want to price, we will actually play devil's advocate about whether you're being sufficiently robust in your pricing or over-optimistic and so forth. So, as I say, our philosophy is that it's not just a matter of saying I'm going to change the pricing model. There's a lot of other things that come into play.
Absolutely brilliant. And I've just actually completed 3 videos that I did with Liz where we kind of talk about all the history of the billable hour, because Liz was actually part of one of the very first firms in Victoria that actually had the billable hour, and talks about why it was brought into force and, you know, why it was originally being used. It's just so fascinating. But whenever you hear anything to do, I mean, obviously our whole marketplace is predicated upon, you know, this sort of fixed fee or value-based pricing model. So for us to have Innovum. I say Innovum. Oh, should I be saying Innovum? Oh.
We're pretty flexible there.
Love it. I say Innovum. If I try any other way, I'll screw it up. But yeah, just so absolutely grateful to be partnered with you. And obviously, part of what we do is we offer our members these workshops, and it's not just for firms or for lawyers who perhaps are doing billable hours and wanting to change or are interested in change. It's actually for those that are already doing it but want to perfect it as well. Because, as you say, Liz, it's an art form. It's not necessarily a science based equation. So it's good. Any questions for Liz in the team?
I've got a question, Liz. I'm very excited to hear that lawyers are moving away from the billables. That's one of the really difficult things that I found when I was practicing as a lawyer. I'm just wondering how the law firms taking it. Are they open-minded and starting to move towards more value-based invoicing?
Look, I think the uptake has been really quite remarkable over the last couple of years. I've probably been trying to push for this for about 15 years, and eventually got to the stage that I actually started working with clients, because I took the view that clients were going to be the ones who were going to drive it, and I think that's probably right. But it is interesting. It's the younger practitioners, it's the smaller firms, and you can understand why it's, I suppose, easier to implement in a smaller firm. But even the larger firms, I'm seeing clients driving a requirement for pricing on a non-hourly rate basis. Those firms, though, are still keeping their billable targets in place. So for me, that's not true value pricing. And I think one of the misconceptions is that value pricing means that you actually reduce your price. Part of our thing was that we see so often that lawyers and other professionals are leaving money on the table when they're actually pricing by the hour. And the more we implement technology into these efficiencies, effectively the more money we're actually leaving on the table. So certainly all the surveys show that the uptake is increasing year on year.
Can I jump in and say two things there, Karen, because I think it's relevant for channel partners and I guess to the Legally Yours model as well. Firstly, I can't recommend the course highly enough, and obviously it's geared at practitioners, and there's a few practitioners here, but it's fundamentally a course about understanding your value proposition and selling that and setting your prices to clients. And I actually think that's a notion that's relevant to all business owners. So you've had non-lawyers who've done your course, Liz, and it may well be that the non-lawyers on the group might turn their minds to the value of it. But what I guess I'd also say, and I'd just reiterate what Liz has said there, I think there is a real trend in legal to go to fixed fees and to call it value billing, but it's still underpinned by a billable unit that's measuring the value. And where what Liz is and the Innovum group are doing is transformational, it has been for me in my practice, is to stop thinking about time as the sole metric of your value. And that's that, as Liz has said, it's been the most transformational bit of CP professional development that I've done, and it's already paying massive dividends for my practice and for my practitioners.
And for any channel partners out there that are dealing with lawyers that will sort of say, this comes up as the topic. I mean, certainly it comes up as a topic a lot in the groups that we're in. Being able to refer them off to Liz and to David and John to be able to say it can be done, speak to them, do some research, it's phenomenal. So very good. Melinda, I think your sounds.
I just opened my car door. Is it got a bit windy, has it?
A little bit, but hey,
sorry.
Since you're talking though, come on.
You know what? That is perfect, because I was almost going to say, could I just riff and pick up on that? So thank you. So I'm Melinda Nutting, and I'm half of a service, a niche service called Step by Step for Separated Families. Is my microphone working okay?
Yes, all good.
Okay. So Tanya is my colleague, but she's on leave at the moment. So we are quite different, I guess, to a lot of the services that have so far talked about, in that we do want to partner with lawyers, but we haven't been able to crack the code as well as we would have liked. So we family therapists and mediators, and we're really passionate about working with families for a more inclusive and I guess, mutual way of working out their parenting agreements and their financial agreements after separation, which is in our name. We come from a background of being therapeutically trained, and really in a nutshell, what we would love to see is a reverse engineered model of family separation where people would use lawyers on a needs basis at the back end, and that we would, practitioners like ourselves and some others who are also here today, would be doing the work at the front end to support the family through both the practical but also the emotional, and also very much the children, if they've got children, the parenting, from the focus which, if any of you have had anything to do with families in your that have gone through separation, you know that it's really about the nitty-gritty day-to-day stuff. And then unfortunately, if people are dealing with two separate lawyers in a negotiation framework, that isn't really the nitty-gritty and the real life stuff. And also we're dealing with a partnership that's broken down, so it takes a great deal of sensitivity to redesign for that family what will work for them in the most healthy, productive and practical way, and upskill. So I know that that, as I said, other people who are here today will talk more about that. What I wanted to kind of just jump in is, we really want to, after the last person, is we really want to work with family lawyers, but it's very, very difficult to get lawyers to see the value in what we do and in working together. And they tend to still, much as we've talked to hundreds of lawyers, say that it sounds a good idea, but not be able to get how we could work together. And when we talk about value, I just really wanted to, I guess, say yes, that it's about the value of the work that we do, lawyers do, other people in this whole environment do, that we can all work somehow more collaboratively as a team. And for me, what's interesting about that is that we and the other mediators and other family law practitioners who are here today, we charge less, and for us that would mean, I would have thought that's a value for lawyers, that we could do our work and they can do their work, but it does mean a collaborative partnership based on valuing each other's contributions. So that's something that I just want to plant a seed about, because I think that changing the mindset, which is or not changing the mindset, but the mindset we're all keen to promote and offer, because we see it as being more healthy and beneficial for the individuals practicing in this arena. But also we know probably that the law, the industry's got to change and become, I suppose, more responsive and more human-based. And we feel like we want to be part of that. So our services at the moment are about either people finding us directly, or if we could get referrals from family lawyers, or the finance sector, because as I said, we do that same work. And we've already collaborated a bit with some of the people here, and I think that's the other great thing. All these services here, we've all got. Yeah, we've already got in touch with Rakesh. Has been great. We've worked with Benita a bit. Anne-Marie and I are trying to brainstorm. So it's great, Karen, that you've linked us all in. Thanks.
No, it's awful. It's fantastic. And I think also the great thing is to note that we've done videos. So with all of you, pretty much, apart from Benita, I'll get you one day. So, everyone can sort of check out, don't check your head, I will get you one day. Everyone can check out their videos. Look, I am on time constraints, so I might just dodge over to Anne-Marie quickly. Anne-Marie, introduce yourself. Thanks, Melinda.
Okay.
You're on mute.
Hi, so I'm Anne-Marie Cade from Divorce Right. I am a lawyer, but actually I don't practice law. What I do is I work as a certified divorce coach and a mediator. I'm also a trained parenting coordinator. So the work I do involves actually working with clients to guide and support them through the process of separation so that they can make the best possible decisions. Now, I find that lawyers are extremely stressed dealing with family law clients. Because clients, form an emotional attachment to a particular position, it's very hard shifting clients from that position, and that can lead to a lot of issues when it comes to client management. So a lot of the lawyers I talk to find this service very valuable because I deal with the client management aspect, help them navigate those traumatic processes, really get them to shift their mindsets. So coaching is very different to therapy in that it's a goal-oriented process where I support, motivate, and guide them, help them with life admin to sort out all their paperwork, really keep them focused on the prize, as it were. So getting over this hurdle and really looking forward to that new life. I also coach them so that they can manage the co-parenting relationship better. And I'm I'm one of the very few parenting coordinators qualified parenting coordinators in Australia. It's a new service. It's a dispute resolution service focused mainly on the children, where the court will order that a parenting coordinator is appointed to help the couple manage communication issues post separation. And I've had a win today, and I have to share it because it was the first time in court orders that a parenting coordinator has been appointed and Divorce Right has been appointed. So,
yay! Well done. That's awesome.
Very excited about that. So, I find that a lot of the work I do is very useful for lawyers from that conflict resolution perspectives, and it has kind of expanded where I work with clients even who are handling issues with who've got issues of in estate planning matters, communication issues within families, where lawyers are really finding it tough to help clients really manage that relationship. So I can work with a client. So I just want to leave you with one thought. I did talk to Jenny Pakula at the Legal Services Board about what the issues facing lawyers are, and she told me that around 25% of the complaints are made against family lawyers, and it mainly is around communication issues, client management issues, that there's miscommunication only because clients are expecting their lawyers so much more from the lawyers. They are not able to really understand that the lawyer is really managing that legal process. So when I step in, I can really assist lawyers manage that process better, and the service can be incredibly valuable from that perspective.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Anne-Marie. And we've got some videos that we're dropping at the moment through Legally Yours and on our socials with Anne-Marie. So thank you. I know you've got to run. Thank you for being on the call. So Vanita, I might just quickly pop up to you because obviously you've worked with Anne-Marie and you're sort of in this space. So introduce yourself.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Vanita G. Moss. I've set up my own mediation company, which is actually called the Mediation Company. And as the name suggests, I run mediations for people in conflict. When I first set up my business, I hired one of those virtual companies to answer my phone, and they kept on answering it with the Meditation Company. But although my clients and I could do with meditation sometimes, it's not what we do. For those of you that don't know what mediation is, very briefly, it's basically providing a forum for people in conflict to come together, talk about their issues and hopefully resolve them and reach an agreement going forward. The two areas that I provide mediations for are firstly family law, like Melinda and like Anne-Marie's, for couples that are separated or divorced, sorting out issues in relation to their children post-separation and the division of their property. The second area I do mediations for is workplace. So basically any type of workplace conflict. It could be employee and to employee, it could be performance management, discrimination, harassment, return to work after mat leave or after injury. In terms of my background, I've been a lawyer for over 20 years, so I've seen a lot of people in conflict and what it does to them. So I'm really passionate about helping people resolve conflict early because, as we all know, when you have conflict, particularly in the workplace, you can't compartmentalise it. It infiltrates in all parts of your life. So, the quicker you can get on top of it, the better. So the workplace mediations I've done in collaboration with a national workplace mediation provider throughout Australia, who also does conflict coaching, workplace training, and any sort of tools to help people manage any conflict before it escalates. And the model we provide is quite a simple one, but it works. Basically, it's a one-day process. In the morning, we meet with the participants, and that's really important for them to get to know me, for me to get to know them, learn a little bit about the conflict, the history of it, why it hasn't resolved to date. And then in the afternoon, we move to a mediation. So it's got quite a high success rate. I think at the moment we're sitting on about 80%.
Amazing.
But that's not to say that once you've done mediation, that's the end of it, because there's obviously a lot of work post-mediation. It's one thing having an agreement, but it's another thing being able to work with that agreement going forward. So, yeah.
Brilliant stuff. And can you believe everybody that Vanita refuses to get on camera because she doesn't like it? I just don't understand it. You're amazing.
I don't like social media. I don't mind the camera so much.
Which probably leads me on to go Mike Brumley. You're the social media expert. You and non-lawyer Steve, and I'll keep you for last, Pete.
Yeah. G'day, everyone. Really great to see you all many of which I've had the pleasure of meeting. And we haven't done a podcast together. I'd like to do that at some point. Just a quick shout out about that. But about us, so I was a lawyer and I ran a recruitment consultancy for 13 years, moving lawyers around the world. And a few years ago, I started a podcast called Beyond Billables Podcast. Grew a list and spoke to a lot of business owners about the troubles they were having with their business and scaling and growing their business. And became apparent that they were having lots of problems with their brand messaging, the content they made, and connecting and creating things of value for their clients. So we started Beyond Billables as a strategy, brand, and marketing agency last year. And essentially, we design strategies to help ambitious and innovative professional services firms grow. So for us, that starts with a big strategy piece at the outset to go over your brand messaging, what you create in a market or value to your clients, how you value, and essentially how you can grow your brand with the amazing opportunities there are now. We take a very integrative approach. So I work really closely with Web3. I don't do web dev, but we work really closely together on that side. So my team tend to do a lot of the brand design, and the Web3 team will do the UX, UI, and then we'll get together on copy and making sure that brand messaging works. We will generally go from the strategy roadmap to a brand refresh or a rebrand, or a fresh brand if it's a new firm, and then help with implementation of the roadmap. So for us, we want to work with clients that we can partner with for a long period of time and grow with them. So our solutions are really based out over time to help firms build a brand. The importance of building a brand is that, ultimately as a former lawyer, and everyone knows reputation is so important, and reputation and brand is exactly the same thing, and it's built in time, and it's all about trust. And so, our big thing is helping innovative firms build trust with potential clients and referrers of work over time through the messaging and through telling their story a lot of the time. So that is us, very integrated approach. So if I see a need for or an opportunity for Google ads or search ads or display ads, the team at Web3 and I work together to help our clients implement that. We do everything from once we're doing the execution, we do all the social copy, all the brand design, all the design copy. We make video, we do podcasts, we write blogs, we create infographics. The full kit and caboodle of content that you can make for your business, built on a key strategy of where you want your business to go in 6, 12, 24 months. My team is, I think there's 8 of us now, run really fast in the last 7 or 8 months in particular, wherever people are in the world. Thankfully, I talk about things that I've done myself. I think that's really, really important. I'm a practitioner, grew a podcast, grew a big email list, grew a big website traffic, grew a brand, and see the real value in growing your brand so you can get the doors open for you and your business, so then you can go and convert clients.
And they do absolutely beautiful work. We can't recommend you highly enough. Like, you just, because you're really on point with keeping the integrity of the profession, but delivering it in a way that's really attractive and palatable for the general population, which has been, I mean, obviously a huge fan. So thank you. Now, I do realise we're going over time, so if people do have to duck out, that's fine. We've got 2 more to go, Sam and Pete, who are brilliant. So if you can stay, please do. I just thought I'd make a quick note, if you do end up having to leave, I will send everybody's email out, if everyone's okay with that, to each other, so you can all correspond with each other, connect with each other after the call, and yeah, that'll be great, because this is what this is all about, is creating this wonderful community of all of you. So on that note, thank you, Mike. And did you want to introduce non-lawyer Steve? I know he left us. He said, no way, I'm out of it.
This mute guy beside me is Steve.
The brains behind this.
You're the brains. I love it. Yeah.
Marketing strategist that helps with all of our plans, and just finished a master's of marketing, and helps me create frameworks for how we deliver things, which in simple talk just means makes it much more I guess understandable. Takes my big ideas and breaks them down into really digestible parts. What else do you do?
And I am not a lawyer in any way, shape, or form.
And we've just got a question, sorry, from Emma about, do you still do your health checks, Mike?
Yep.
And could you do one for everyone here, if anyone here is interested on the channel partnership?
In due course. They take a hell of a lot of time. It takes me 8 to 10 hours per one, but love to. Yeah, have to.
So on that, Mike, what they're offering is free health checks of people's sort of branding and socials, and how you're appearing digitally. Is that correct, Mike?
Yeah, that's
yeah.
right.
But don't request one now. Wait.
I was going to, because I spoke to James in Brisbane as well. So I was going to talk to you guys about that.
all good. All good. See you later, James. Thank you.
Anyone as well, hit me up if you'd like to come on the pod. You're all amazing. So I'd always, love to get you all on the pod.
Brilliant. Thank you, Mike. Right, go, Sam. Sorry, we're running late, everyone.
That's fine. I'll be really quick, because I think a lot of people on this call already know me or what we do. But for the benefit of those of you who don't, my name's Sam. I'm from Joseph. Joseph is a legal automation platform. So we license our products to law firms and legal organizations, and they build and launch legal bots on the platform. A great example is the Legally Yours bot, Josephine. The bots that are built can do a number of things. There's 3 broad categories that we've observed. So one is automating lawyer-client conversations like intake and triage, or client interviews. The second category is automating the production of legal documents, so agreements and letters and forms. And the final category is automating the production of and advice. We work across the legal industry around the world. So we work in North America, Asia, PAC, Europe. And we work with firms like Clifford Chance and Herbert Smith Freehills, through to legal organizations like the American Bar Association, Legally Yours, down to sole practitioners and awesome new law firms like Hive Legal, and Legalize and Polaris.
And Peer Legal?
Peer Legal, absolutely. actually owed Peter a call, and I saw him when I got in here. I was like, I didn't call him back yesterday. Sorry, Pete. And yeah, a number of other firms. I think Legally Yours is the type of firms who are interested in Legally Yours and participate in Legally Yours really marry up well to the types of firms that use Joseph, and not just use Joseph, but use Joseph to the best effect. And so that's why we got involved, and because we love Legally Yours and Karen. And I think that's it. Any questions?
Thank you, Sam. Any quick questions for Sam? I have got videos with Sam coming out. So I think one I'm about to release this week is all about how actually Joseph works and what the process is. So, you know, definitely check that out. But yeah, they're Joseph are actually the darlings of legal tech. So we're very lucky to have his. There you go. Thank you so much, Sam. All right, Pete, lucky last. Sorry to keep you till then.
Lucky last. Thanks, Karen. So look, I wear a few hats. I guess starting with my lawyer hat, I have a practice, Peer Legal, that I set up 2 years ago. And I maybe to talk to you as channel partners and what the value that Legally Yours and the channel partnership brings is that, so myself and 2 of my lawyers, we're customers of Legally Yours, and we're finding that a fantastic experience. And through that, I've been introduced to Linda, and Linda's now starting to work with us in Peer Legal. Been introduced to Mike, and we're probably going to sign on as clients with Mike and Steve pretty soon. I've met Emma, Rakesh, a few others, Drugare, and I imagine there'll be opportunities to work with all of them. So that's, I think, one of the fantastic things. I have known Liz for a long time, and I have to say I did the Innovum thing separately from Karen, and likewise Joseph. But it is a wonderful sort of ecosystem that Karen and Wes are creating, and I think there can be great value for all of us, and it's a great thing, the channel partnership arrangement. So to put my channel partnership hat on, I, in addition to my law firm, am trying to find an alternative way to, I guess, have a partnership structure and to have the benefit of scale and collaboration that you get within a firm without going down the traditional law firm structure. So I've set up a structure called Steward, which is the easiest way to describe it is it's sort of like a co-share, a virtual co-share for sole practitioners. So it's not co-share in the sense of Rose's Clarence offering. We don't provide a physical co-share necessarily, although we do share, a few of the lawyers, we do share a space, but it's actually sharing the sort of online and software resources and providing the sort of back-end administrative function for practitioners. Being a sole practitioner is pretty labour intensive, and you find you have to do a lot of stuff yourself. So the idea is that we have a central management entity that can do a lot of that and provide a lot of the benefit that you would get when you form up under a law firm, but is still in a way where practices are independent, often trading under separate brands. Yeah, it's an idea that is very complementary with Legally Yours and a lot of your offerings. And I mean, for example, with Joseph, we see that building out the Joseph functionality is something that we can then provide effectively as a sort of an additional offering to members who see the benefits in that sort of thing, but don't want to have to spend the time engaging with it and figuring out how to do it and build it themselves. That's sort of, we're almost sort of on selling and brokering those sort of functionalities. And I think for Steward, the channel partnership is fantastic because we're not trying to be all things to all people and doing all the things. Most of the things you're doing are really complementary to the network that we're trying to build. So I'd say that there's great opportunities to really work together, and that's already happening between us. So well done, Karen.
Thanks, Pete. That's why I left you till last, because I knew you'd finish it off well. So I think, look, from this call, what's really, which I've known, which now you're all in on, the secret is that, what we're trying to build is this community on the side that at the very heart and crux of all of what you do on this call and all who we channel partner with is to basically enhance the way lawyers practice and enhance the connection with community. And it's all in that sort of wonderful collaborative partnership space. So that's why we all have you. So just each individual one of you here, I'm so grateful that you are part of this community, and I really encourage you all to get to know each other and understand each other's services. So there were a couple of people who weren't able to make the call. So what I wanted to put open was whether or not I might actually just schedule one of these every 3 months, quarterly calls, and if people can come, that's great. If people can't make it, that's fine, but we'll have new people coming in and out. So I know EJ Wise from Wise Legal, who is the cyber specialist, she's also a channel partner and brilliant. She talks about risk audit and dick pics, doesn't she, Mike, which is really rude, but she's always a good fun, you're laughing. And we've also, as I mentioned, Jessica from BPO Heroes as well, and also Nicole Davidson is also a channel partner. She's a commercial mediator, so different to obviously Vanita and Mel and Anne-Marie, in the sense that she does mediation for commercial law matters and wants to do it at the beginning, not when they've actually engaged in the court process. So just lots of brilliant complementary services. Now, the announcement I just wanted to make is that what we would really love is for all of you who would like to actually start doing Zoom calls with our members. So what we were thinking, every maybe 2 to 4 weeks, we'll put out a Zoom call to all our members with a channel partner being featured, and it depends on what you want to talk about. So I'm really open to you to sort of come up with some topics. We can make it for an hour or half an hour, but basically throw it open to the community. I'll organise the call and get them all invited, and then you basically have the floor. So I know a lot with the lawyer community that we have is that they really love to ask questions and to be able to really kind of understand the service offering and understand how they can utilise, and any sort of, you know, education around your product or service would be brilliant. So I throw it open to all of you. If you want to email me, you all have my email address. I'll then work out a schedule, and I'm hoping we might actually do our first one on the 30th of October. And obviously also what I'll do is I'll invite all of you as well. So if you wanted to listen in on the call as well, you're more than welcome to do that too. So is everyone sort of understanding that and happy to look at doing something like that?
That's great.
Yep, seeing lots of nods. Awesome. So I'll leave it all to you to put in your submissions. But as I said, I think it's just a great opportunity for you to talk and sort of, you know, get out what people, I mean, I certainly know video has been key for us, and being able to have that kind of, you know, face-to-face communication on a Zoom call. So we will call them lunch and learn sessions. Plan to do it on a Wednesday typically, and yeah, that's what we're going to do. So look, thank you. I've kept you way over time, but just a big thank you to all of you. You really are the kind of engine of what's powering Legally Yours. You know, all the services and the wonderful things you provide. So thank you so much for being part of the community, and I will send you all an email as well. So thank you, everyone. We'll talk very soon.
Thanks, Karen.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.